most magnificent audience that God brought us here to this bright young, I call him servant of God, son of God, Glenn Beck. And all of you, some 48 years ago, right over here beyond the fence, I stood as a young man who was led here by God and Martin Luther King. Stood right over there. To Washington, the first trip on the bus to go through Mississippi, which they dared us to come because they promised us they would blow the bus up. And we came and served, and I was in the sermon Dr. Martin Luther King preached, I have a dream. But let me say this, and I'll get out of your hair. God sent his son to this earth so that we could all gather. And I think that's the dream and the vision of Glenn Beck. And you would have to wonder, what was the audience participation? What would they give back? I saw him, Glenn Beck, eyes full of tears, as he said what they have given for all of this to happen. So what will Jesus, if he stood here right now, what would be expected of this great audience? And when you study, you're going to see where there were 3 women in the ministry of Jesus Christ. Now, you know, there were many, very many men, many children, but there were 3 classical women stood out in his ministry, just like you stand out in the ministry of Dr. Glenn Beck. One of those women came and gave 2 mites. She said she gave all she had, which was 2 mites. We call them in the Bible the widow mite. She gave them as a gift when Jesus gave the offering. She gave all she had, and it was so powerful until Jesus stopped the offering and said, this woman will be remembered because her name is written down in the Lamb Book of Life. And I came to tell you, you didn't come for nothing. You came to give your gift, which would be a gift of yourself. But there was another great one. This woman gave the best she had, which was a box of anointment. She anointed Jesus' feet. Can you imagine? This woman went down and got at his feet. She didn't anoint his head, didn't anoint his hand, didn't anoint his body, but the what? The feet. And took her long silk hair, wiped the feet clean, and kissed his feet with her antiseptic mouth. What a great gift. And Jesus said, this shall be remembered, because she gave him a resurrection before he even died. You can do the same. You can pray, get the best you have for a young man named Glenn Beck. And third, I'm going to walk back. There was another great woman, just like you, just like you. She was not Jewish. She was Greek. She was like you and I, a Gentile. She was not supposed to be in the crowd. But she came. She followed Jesus on behalf of her daughter who had an unclean spirit. Didn't have no money. But God's Son, Jesus Christ, said he had not seen that kind of faith in her as he had seen in the Israelites. And do you know what? When she got to Jesus, even the disciples told her she was not included. And when she spoke to Jesus in a begging voice, he ignored her. He would not say a word. And then when Jesus spoke, he said, should I take the bread from the table of the children and give it to a dog? She didn't get upset. She did not panic. She said, you're right. But even the dog is due crumbs. There's somebody here living on crumbs. I looked at my man, his hands. There are people come from Iraq and all around from Afghanistan on different legs. But I think they can give a crumb. They can give all they had. She said, but feed the dog underneath the table. And I close. I want to thank Lynn Betty for giving a person of mine, a man, that don't deserve to be here. I quit school in the 10th grade, but God never let me stop. I have a bachelor degree, I have a PhD, and then I have a doctor of law, because God would not let me stop. He fed me underneath the table. And I met a man this morning. I sat down for breakfast. His name is Joe McNeil. And he told me how God blessed him so, and all he wanted to do to see all the children. He said he went to a town and took a company that had been bankrupt. He took that company and gave 300 and some people a job, feeding a person with a dog appetite beneath the table. Thank you for letting me come, and thank you for this reward that I don't deserve it, that's what I'm saying, but I earn it to my dying day. Thank you.
Great man.
Hope, the parent of both faith and charity. It's the light in a world that sometimes can be dark and a difficult place. Without hope, without that glimmer of faint light shining through even the bleakest of times, we die. Hope is our eternal flame. For hope to be real, it must be based in truth and honor. Without it, hope is nothing more than an empty wish. Our history is chock full of brilliant men and women whose integrity and courage gave birth to this glorious republic. Men and women whose actions radiated hope throughout this entire land of ours. But where have they gone? What happened to